Be me. Work in HR. Everyone smiles at me. Nobody trusts me. I deserve it. Company does B2B software for logistics and retail. We like to say we optimize global supply chains. In reality, we sell dashboards to stressed middle managers who don't sleep. My whole brand. Intersectional feminist. LinkedIn bio. Building equitable workplaces for women and marginalized genders. Panel talks, podcasts, internal workshops, the whole ecosystem. Started as junior recruiter at 24, sat through a decade of male execs talking over me in meetings, heard every cultural fit excuse used to pass on women. Swore I'd do the opposite once I had power. Fast forward. Company grows. Series B, new investors. Founder upgrades me to head of people and culture. Corner office with glass walls and plants. My kingdom. Unwritten rule in my head. If there are two equal candidates, woman gets it. If there is one woman and one man, and she is even slightly less qualified, she still gets it. Historically underrepresented. Correcting imbalances. All the phrases from DEI webinars. Recruitment pipeline is my battlefield. CVs come in, I skim male names faster. If a woman has 60% of requirements, high potential. If a man has 90% of requirements, maybe too corporate for our culture. Be Monday morning. Calendar says final interview, sales director. This is a big one. We've been bleeding deals for months. Need a shark who can close enterprise contracts. We've already interviewed 4 women, 1 internal candidate. None perfect, but we can grow them into the role. CEO Maxime freaking out quietly. Burn rate high. Investors asking, where is revenue curve up? He says we need someone uncomfortably senior. I hear another pushy man. Smile and say, we'll prioritize leadership potential in women first. Assistant pings me. Your 11R is here. Check the CV again. Name, Daniel Kovac. 38 yo. Background, enterprise SaaS sales, logistics vertical. 12 years experience. Led regional team that did 15M ARR last year. Numbers look stupidly good. Already annoyed he exists. Walk to meeting room. See him through glass. Tall and simple navy suit. No Rolex, no flashy nonsense. Just a laptop bag and notebook. We shake hands. His grip is firm but not crushing. Classic trained negotiator vibe. Start the usual. Tell me about yourself and why you're interested in our company. He talks and it's not terrible. Says he's been in logistics tech for a decade, loves the space, saw our product at a conference, thinks we're undervalued and underleveraged, has 3 ideas off the top of his head on how to reposition our offer. My internal monologue loading. Of course he sees opportunity in a company where a woman runs HR. Probably wants to come in, conquer, build boys club sales team. Ask behavioral questions. He doesn't talk about crushing quotas. Talks about process, building predictable pipeline, coaching quiet performers instead of only rewarding loud ones. Mentions he's hired and promoted women into senior AE roles. Red flag in my head anyway. He's too smooth. Numbers too clean. Feels like male confidence packaged as competence. Ask him about conflict with leadership. He says last company wanted to push aggressive discounting and over-promise features. He refused. Said that long-term trust with clients matters more. Got sidelined, eventually left. My brain. So he doesn't like authority, cool. We finish. He thanks me, doesn't oversell himself. If we're not a fit, I still wish you the best. It's a good product. Leaves calmly. Sit there staring at notes. My rational brain. He is literally the best candidate on paper and in person. My ideological brain. If you put a man at the top of sales, everything you've built symbolically dies. Walk back to my office. Pull up candidate tracker. Top of list, internal candidate, woman named Dasha. 29 IO. Joined as SDR, now mid-level AE. Smart, hardworking, never managed a team, never owned enterprise territory, never had to present to a board, but she fits the narrative. Grow your own female leaders. Promote from within. Break the glass ceiling. CEO pings me. How is this Daniel guy? Can he save our pipeline? Feel irritation spike. Why do men always think about saving something? Type back. He's solid, but culture fit questionable. Very traditional leadership style. Not exactly true, but not a full lie either. It's what I felt. CEO replies, if you think Dasha can grow into the role, I'm willing to take that risk. But we really need someone who can deliver in next 2 quarters. Take a deep breath. This is the moment. Call him. Max, if we keep waiting for ready-made male saviors, we'll never have women in these roles. Hear him sigh. I know, but numbers don't care about politics. It's not politics, it's principle. Long pause. He finally says, okay, I trust you. You run people. Make the call. Hang up. Feel a small rush. Power. Validation. The sense that I'm actively shaping history. Send email to recruiter. We've decided not to move forward with Daniel. Thank him for his time. Emphasize culture fit. Mark his profile as rejected, not aligned with values. 5 minutes later, ping Dasha. Can you come by my office? She comes in looking nervous. Offer her the sales director role. She looks shocked. Eyes widen. Hands shake a little. Are you sure I'm ready? No one is ever 100% ready. We'll support you. She starts to cry. Says she'll work 24/7. Says she won't let me down. Feels good. This is what justice looks like. Correcting for years of male bias. Time skip, 3 months later. Revenue reports, not great. Pipeline thin, old deals slipping. New enterprise prospects ghosting after legal review or budget approval. Dasha trying. She studies every sales playbook. Shadow calls CEO. Keeps jumping on every meeting. But she's overwhelmed. Team senses it. Sales floor vibes shift from "we got this" to "we're drowning but smiling." Investor board meetings get tense. Slides show flat or declining ARR. Customer acquisition cost up. Churn from big old account starting. CEO's jawline more clenched every week. Slack message. Elena, can we talk about leadership in sales? Walk into his office. Brace for argument. He says, we might need to bring in someone more experienced above Dasha. Maybe a VP sales. Here subtext, someone like Daniel. Snap. So the moment a woman struggles, we parachute in a man to fix it? That's the story you want? He rubs his temples. It's not about gender, it's about runway. It is always about gender. Silence. Meeting ends unresolved. Time skip again. 6 months from hiring Dasha. Rumors in the market. There's a new competitor on the horizon. Some boutique firm eating into our deals. Big retailers going with them instead of us. See a post on LinkedIn. Excited to announce I've joined Route Flow Solutions as Chief Revenue Officer. Photo of Daniel. My stomach sinks for a second. Scroll further. Route Flow, tiny name I've seen before. Turns out they've been quietly building transport optimization tools. Now they're pivoting hard into our niche. With him spearheading, Slack channel dollar sales chat blows up. Hey, isn't that the guy we interviewed? LOL, imagine if we had hired him. Ignore it. Tell myself, we don't know if he's any good. Maybe he'll crash. Spoiler, he doesn't. Next quarter, our pipeline deck shows something weird. 3 huge enterprise prospects we've been nurturing for a year all suddenly went with another provider. Ask account managers what happened. They said they really liked us, but Rootflow offered a more complete rollout plan and seemed more prepared. My jaw tightens. Ask for more detail. Get forwarded an RFP response from Routeflow. Someone leaked it informally. Open doc, it's brutal. Every weakness in our offer, they address. Every pain point we vaguely acknowledged. They map a process, timeline, owners, metrics. In the summary slide, see a line. Led by Daniel Kovaz, who has 12 plus years experience in logistics SaaS and has seen this exact rollout profile across multiple markets. Feel like throwing laptop. Board meeting time. Investor guy with cold eyes and perfect hair says, we lost 3 deals worth 2.7 million ARR combined in 1 quarter. To a competitor led by someone you interviewed and rejected for culture fit. He doesn't say my name. He doesn't need to. CEO glances at me, eyes apologetic but also accusing. We made a values-based decision. Investor raises eyebrow. Did your values include staying in business? Leave meeting shaking. Angry at investor. Angry at CEO. Angry at Daniel. Angry at myself. But ego won't allow me to admit that part yet. Get coffee with my closest colleague, Anya, head of product. Vent for an hour. He's just another guy benefiting from the system. If he was so good, why did his last company sideline him? Anya stirs her latte, looks unconvinced. Maybe they were idiots. Our loss, I guess. Triggered.exe. So you think we should have hired him instead of Dasha? She hesitates, then says quietly, I think we should have hired whoever was best for the role, whoever that was. Feel betrayed. Change subject. Meanwhile, LinkedIn is a horror show. Routeflow announcing big partnerships. Photos of smiling teams at client HQs. Quotes from supply chain directors. Their team just understood our reality better. Guess who is tagged every time? Daniel. Our Slack becomes a low-key panic room. Sales complaining about losing deals. Customer success warning about upsell opportunities going nowhere. Finance pinging me about optimization of headcount. Month 10 after Dasha's promotion. CEO calls me in a meeting with investors. Room feels heavier than usual. Investor guy, we have to cut burn, that means headcount reduction. Elena, work with Maxim on a restructuring plan. My heart drops. You want me to fire people? He nods. You're head of people. The irony tastes metallic. Spend next 2 weeks building spreadsheets. Names become rows. Lives become FTE counts and salaries. Line items in an Excel of despair. Shocking realization. Most expensive teams. Sales, underperforming. People and culture, me plus my HR DEI projects. Some operations. CEO tries to keep me out of the firing line, but investors push. We can't justify a full-time head of people at this stage. So while I'm drafting scripts to lay off others, I can feel the floor under me wobbling. One night, 2 a.m., still in office, scrolling through old candidate reports, see Daniel's file. Rejected. Culture fit concerns. Shame hits like a physical wave. Reread interview notes. My own words. Strong experience, structured thinking, could be too top-down for our collaborative culture. Next line from CEO. If Elena is unsure, I'll trust her judgment. That line hurts the most. Layoff day comes, bring people into small room. Say rehearsed sentences about market conditions and runway. Some cry. Some stare blankly. Some say, I knew this was coming. After the last one leaves, CEO asks me to stay. He looks exhausted. Older, like he aged 5 years and 6 months. Says quietly, Board wants a leaner structure going forward. Know exactly what that means. Don't even need to hear it. Still, he continues, they think we can outsource HR for now. Keep recruiting external. Put culture under my scope. There it is. My own layoff speech. Sit in chair, hands cold. Ask, is this your decision or theirs? He looks at table. Does it matter? Shortest answer ever, also the truest. Get severance package. Lawyer checks it. It's fair. Ironic. Even my exit is legally correct. Time skip. 6 months later. Job market brutal for senior HR people. Every second LinkedIn post. Due to macroeconomic conditions, we had to let go of our people team. Attend some online HR summits. Everyone talking about doing more with less. And HR needs to prove ROI. Translate, why do you exist? Bank account shrinking. Start applying to roles I would have snubbed a year ago. Get some interviews. No offers. One day, recruiter messages me. Hey, there's a head of people role at Routeflow Solutions. Interested? Stare at screen. Routeflow, Daniel's company. The competitor that ate us alive. First instinct? Over my dead body. Second instinct? Rent exists. Ask recruiter. Do they know I was at their competitor? Yes, they think that's a plus. Industry knowledge, etc. Agree to first call. Tell myself I'll just listen. Totally not emotionally invested. Zoom with their COO, different vibe, calmer. No manic startup energy, more methodical. He says, we're scaling. We've been scrappy about people processes. We need someone to build them properly. Mentions they want sustainable culture, not just revenue at all cost. Feels like he's reading my old HR decks. Second stage, they want me to meet their leadership team, including their CRO, aka Daniel. Walk into meeting room at their office. See him at table, he recognizes me immediately. Stands up, smiles. Not smug. Just normal. We shake hands again. It feels like a weird time loop. He says, nice to see you again, under different circumstances. Want to sink into floor? They do panel-style interview. Ask about HR strategy, how I'd build fair processes, how I'd balance performance and well-being, all my usual topics. Except now I feel like a fraud, because my last strategy helped steer a company into a cliff. Then Daniel asks a question, simple but surgical. How do you make sure your personal beliefs don't blind you to the best talent, regardless of gender? Room goes quiet. Everyone looks at me. It's like universe hit unmute on my conscience. Could lie. Give some polished answer about checklists and structured frameworks. Brain tries to load old script. Mouth refuses. Instead I say, in my last role, they did. Blind me, I mean. Feel my own heartbeat. Words keep coming. I turned down someone who was clearly the best fit because I didn't want another man in a leadership role. I promoted a less experienced woman instead. We lost deals, we lost market share. Eventually, the company had layoffs, including my own role. They all know who I'm talking about. Don't even need to name him. Confession hangs in the air. Daniel's expression unreadable. I add, I told myself I was correcting for systemic bias. What I was actually doing was creating new bias on top of old ones and pretending that made it justice. No one says anything. Keep going. So to answer your question, I would build processes that force us to look at evidence. Structured scoring, diverse panels, transparent criteria. And I would want someone in the room who can call me out if I start drifting into ideology instead of data. COO nods slowly. Another exec scribbles something. Daniel just looks at me for a second, then glances down at his notes. Interview reps. They say they'll be in touch. Leave building feeling like I just had therapy without consent. Spend next week refreshing email. Heartbeat spike every time root flow hits inbox. Finally, email comes. Subject, route flow decision. Open with hands shaking slightly. Thank you so much for spending time with us and sharing your experience so honestly. After careful consideration, we've decided to move forward with another candidate at this time. Stare at line again. Another candidate. Stomach drops a little, then notice there's more. This was not an easy decision. Your expertise is evident. However, at our current stage, we need someone who has built HR from scratch in smaller organizations, whereas your experience has been in later stage startups. We hope our paths cross again. Brain, is this karma? Is this fairness? Both? Then I see there's a separate email from Daniel. Subject, off the record. Open it. It says, Elena, I asked him to let me send this note separately. I pushed for us to consider you seriously. You're clearly good at what you do. The reason I supported going with the other candidate wasn't about what happened before. It was about fit for our current needs, like the official email said. I want you to know this. When you rejected me for culture fit, it hurt. Not because I felt entitled to the job, but because everything I showed you that was relevant seemed invisible compared to what I couldn't change about myself. I told myself at the time that maybe you just didn't see it yet, that maybe you'd learn the hard way. I didn't expect that hard way to cost both of us as much as it did. In the interview, you did something I never saw back then. You took responsibility. Most people never get that far. I hope you get a role where you can use that lesson. A team led by someone who's actually reflected on their own bias is lucky. No hard feelings? Daniel. Read it 3 times. Don't know what I feel. Not exactly humiliation. Not exactly relief. Some weird mix of both. Part of me wants to reply something sharp. You still profited? You still won. Easy for you to be gracious. Other part of me knows that's projection. Instead, I type, thank you for writing this. You were right about more than I was willing to admit. I hope your company treats people as individuals better than I did. Hover over send, then delete last sentence. Change it to, I hope your company treats people as individuals, full stop. Click send, time skip again. Another 6 months. Finally land a new job. Smaller B2B startup. 10 people when I join, no investors yet. Bootstrapped. Founder is a quiet woman in her 40s who used to be a developer. Office is one room and a kitchen that smells like instant noodles. Title says people in operations. Salary lower than old one by a lot. No fancy perks, no panels, no LinkedIn fame. But something is different this time. First engineering hire candidate. Male, mid-30s. Strong CV. References glowing. Old reflex starts whispering. Maybe hold out for a woman to balance it. New voice cuts in. Is he the best person for this job right now? Ask founder, how do you feel about having a male first hire on the dev team? She shrugs. If he can ship, I don't care. We'll hire more people later. So we do. We hire him. He joins, is respectful, helps juniors, volunteers to mentor an intern who happens to be a woman. No drama. Just work. Over the next year, team grows to 25. We end up with women in senior roles and men in junior roles, and the other way around. For once, I don't keep a scoreboard in my head. Instead, I build processes that don't know gender. Scorecards, panel interviews, structured feedback, salary bands, everything out in the open. Sometimes candidates ask, "What's your stance on diversity and inclusion?" Old me would launch into TED Talk. New me says, "We'll treat you fairly as an individual. If we fail, I expect you to call us out and we'll fix it." Shorter, less glamorous, more terrifying, more honest. One evening, scrolling LinkedIn, see post from Routeflow. Proud to announce our new head of people. Photo of someone I don't know. Caption: she helped us build processes that are fair and transparent for everyone. Smirk a little, glad they hired a woman. Glad it wasn't me. For the first time, that doesn't feel like losing. Scroll further. Someone shared an old case study about market shifts in logistics SaaS. There's a slide comparing 3 companies. Routeflow, my old employer. Some third one. My old company's logo grayed out. Footnote: acquired last year in a distress sale. Product partially integrated, staff mostly laid off or redistributed. Heart squeezes a bit. Scroll to details. Acquirer basically stripped tech. Killed the brand. My old legacy? Gone. Lean back in chair. Stare at ceiling. For years I told myself I was fighting a war. Us versus them. Women versus patriarchy. Good versus evil. Simple binary. Reality turned out much messier. Sometimes the guy you paint as symbol of the system is just a person trying to pay his mortgage and raise his kid. Sometimes the woman you want to lift up isn't ready for the role you put her in, and she ends up crushed by pressure instead of empowered. Still believe patriarchy exists. Still believe women face systemic bias. That hasn't evaporated just because I was wrong in specific ways. Difference now. I don't use those truths as excuses to ignore individual fairness. One of my new junior colleagues, young woman, HR assistant, comes to me one day, asks, "Do you think we should have quotas for women in leadership here? To be safe?" Old me would say, "Absolutely." Instead, I tell her a story about a company that wanted to be so progressive, it forgot to compete. About a head of people who thought ideology would protect her from consequences. About a man she rejected, who then outcompeted them ethically and effectively. She listens wide-eyed, asks, "So what do we do instead?" Answer surprises even me. We build systems where no one has to win or lose because of what they are, only because of what they actually do. She nods slowly. That sounds harder. Yeah, it is. Later that night, on the train home, phone buzzes, unknown number, short message. Heard you landed somewhere new. Good. The industry needs people who've learned the hard lessons. D. Stare at it. Type. Still learning. Delete it. Type. Thanks. Hope your culture is as fair as your sales pitches. Delete again. Finally send. We're trying to do it right this time. There's no reply, and that's fine. For once. I'm not looking for validation, not from panels, not from investors, not from men I rejected, not even from the women I uplift, just from whether or not. In every new hiring meeting, every promotion discussion, every conflict, I can look at the person in front of me and see a person, not a category, not a symbol, not a battlefield. And if I mess it up again, because I probably will, eventually, I hope someone in the room will be brave enough to do what I never let anyone do before. Look me in the eye and say, "You're letting your beliefs distort the facts." And I hope, this time, I'll listen. Be me. 32-yo woman. Head of people in a small office that smells like instant noodles. No longer fighting a war against half the planet. Just trying. Case by messy case. Hire by imperfect hire. To not become. The thing I thought I was fighting.